Behind every locked door is a story waiting to be uncovered. This is Hidden Killers with Tony Brueski, featuring psychotherapist and author Shavaun Scott.
Stephan Sterns and Jennifer Soto, those are the two that were entrusted with, parenting Madeline Soto as she was growing up all the way to the age of 13, where on the following day after her birthday, she was murdered, allegedly by Stephan Sterns. And the many years leading up to that, she was sexually abused by Stephan Sterns, and pictures were taken. It's a disturbing case. There's recently been interrogation video that has come out from the Kissimmee Police Department showing Jen having that one-on-one with the officers and the detectives, and Stephan as well. Joining me to discuss, Shavaun Scott, psychotherapist and author. I have some clips here we're going to play, and they're mainly of Jen. But before we go to the Jen section, I want to talk about the Stephan section of all of this. He, of course, is the one that's been charged with the murder. There's no question about the sexual abuse. There's pictures of him with her, and just absolutely, horrible situations for a child. What did you glean off of that? The video, by the way, is up on our YouTube channel, and you can hear it here on the podcast if somebody wants to take a listen.
My impression about him is, again, he's not very smart.
No.
He's not very good at this. And he really thought that his attempt to wipe his phone, do a factory reset on his phone, that was going to eliminate all the material that he had stored on his phone. He's stupid, but also very narcissistic, that he really thought he was going to get away with this. A very sloppy, horrid crime. And, apparently he had manipulated his way through life enough with other people who weren't really holding him accountable that he thought he was going to get away with it.
Yeah, I mean, his parents they're in many interviews now talking about it. They pretty much throw him under the bus. They're like, he's pretty much dead to us, which I applaud them for that. Call a spade a spade, even if it's your kid. And it's just shocking. I mean, this guy seems to have always kind of been, an idiot. Of course, there was a traumatic brain injury, supposedly at a young age, being run over by a vehicle, I believe, twice, which, that could cause some damage. But clearly he was functional enough to live a life, go work, and do those sort of things. I know a lot of people have been pointing to that traumatic brain injury at that age. Does that have anything to do with thinking it's a good idea to molest your girlfriend's 10-year-old daughter?
No, it wouldn't produce a pedophile, right? That's other stuff that's very hard to understand and very complicated. And we may never completely understand the sexual wiring and how it gets miswired in certain people and how much does biology have to do with that. It's not figured out. But we do know that a very large percentage of people who are in prison for violent crime have had a traumatic brain injury. Sometimes they've had more than one traumatic brain injury. So I think what we can say about that is it reduces impulse control. And so people who have, let's say, dark tendencies, antisocial tendencies, if they didn't have the TBI, they might be able to restrain themselves and cope better. But when you throw the TBI in, you get a person who doesn't control their impulses. And they may lose some IQ points from being run over twice by a truck, the second time directly over the head. So I don't think that did him any favors in life. And it certainly is, if we were looking at evaluating him, that would be a significant contributing factor,
What did you make of his calm demeanor throughout the entire thing, even when they finally came to him? Because they led up to it. They're trying to see what they could get out of him.
Yeah.
And then they finally were like, you're under arrest. And you want to know why? Why? And then they told him for the child pornography on his phone, and that they knew it was Maddie, and he's still just like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
It wasn't enraged, there was nothing. It was just like you told him, like, hey, we're having Burger King for lunch.
Yeah. And that again speaks to someone who's not quite normal.
Yeah.
You know, there's just so much that's off about this guy, but he's highly manipulative. You know, he did try to come up with a response for everything they asked him,
Yeah.
but they were not believable responses in any way. But he didn't seem to have a clue about that. The only time I saw his mood change was after the handcuffs and when he was being photographed.
Yeah.
And then it looked like he was having kind of this, oh shit look, you know,
Yeah.
like this, I didn't pull it off this time.
Yeah, clearly he was caught. It's a disturbing video.
You're neck deep in a dark, twisted tale, and just as the tension peaks, bam, a commercial about some miracle diet pill breaks the spell. It's like finding a fly in your soup after the first bite. But here's the fix. True Crime Today Premium Plus on Apple Podcasts. You get to enjoy your crime stories without the junk, ad-free episodes, extended interviews that go beyond the surface, and early access to all the gruesome details. It's like swapping out a can of cheap beer for a glass of fine whiskey. So search for True Crime Today Premium Plus on Apple Podcasts. Subscribe and keep the darkness flowing uninterrupted.